what is the best piece of advice you've ever been given, and how has it impacted your personal or professional lives?
What did I tell you that impressed you the most?
Actually, I can answer that. When first I met Warren, we were talking about getting together and doing something again, and he pulled out his calendar, and the pages were so blank. And I said, wow, you've managed to avoid getting tied into a lot of kind of meaningless activity. And Warren said, yeah, you have to be good at saying no and picking the things that really make a difference. And that's one of many things I've learned from Warren, but that's one of my favorites, and so I can blame it on him whenever I'm turning things down.
Yeah, well, I told him that was it. The truth is I don't get invited anyplace.
Hi, my name is Timothy Ferris. I am a guest lecturer at Princeton University twice a year. And I'd like to touch on an earlier question about investing with small sums of money. I'd like to ask both of you, if you were 30 years old again and had your first $1 million in the bank, how would you invest it, assuming you're not a full-time investor, you have another full-time job, you can cover your expenses with other savings for about 18 months, no dependents, and it'd be really helpful for my students, for myself and others here, if you could be as specific as possible about asset classes, percentages, whatever you're willing to offer.
Well, I'll be very simple. Under the conditions you name, I'd probably have it all in a very low-cost index fund, and it'd probably be, might be Vanguard. Somebody I knew was reliable, somebody where the cost was low, and because you postulated that you're not going to become a professional investor, I would recognize the fact that I'm an amateur investor. And I would feel that unless bought during a strong bull market, which this hasn't been, I would feel that that was going to outperform to a degree bonds under current conditions over a long period of time, and then I'd forget it and go back to work. Charlie?
Yeah, it's in the nature of things that you aren't going to have a whole lot of screamingly successful professional investors. You've got a great horde of professionals taking croupier's profits out of the system, most of them by pretending to be professional investors. And that is in the nature of things too. But if you don't have any rational prospects of being a very skilled professional investor, well, of course you should compromise on some simple thing like an index fund.
And I had an opportunity to have lunch with Warren Buffett and Jeff Bezos. And I asked Jeff Bezos a question about Warren Buffett. I said, Jeff, in front of Warren, what's the best advice that Warren Buffett ever gave you? And he said, and they've been friends for like 10 years. And he tells me this story. And he says, one day, I call up Warren Buffett and I say, Warren, you're like the second richest guy in the world. They're talking, and he's like, your investment thesis is so simple. Like, if you're the second richest guy in the world and your investment thesis is so simple, why isn't everyone just copying you? And Warren Buffett replies, he goes, because no one wants to get rich slow. And I think there's something to that as well. Everyone wants to grow fast. No one wants to grow slow. We're growing pretty fast, but we could have grown twice as fast if I just stepped on the gas. But we don't want to grow super faster than can provide good experiences, because then we end up with more problems like the meth problem where we can't handle the growth. And right. I want to provide a great experience.
So we're investing in new initiatives.
And this is certainly what your investors who've been with you for a long time fervently believe. And you ask them, why doesn't it bother you the way it bothers some people that the company's not profitable and has an infinite PE and all this stuff?
Warren Buffett has this great quote. He says, you can hold a rock concert, and that's okay. And you can hold a ballet, and that's okay. Just don't hold a rock concert and advertise it as a ballet. Investors come in all shapes and sizes. They have different investment horizons, different approaches, different beliefs about what the right kind of portfolio looks like. And so it's not one, people use Wall Street as a shorthand, but there isn't one type of investor. They come in all shapes and sizes. And you have to be super clear about what kind of company you're trying to build, what your approach is. We laid that out in our 1997 annual shareholder letter. We said we were going to take big bets. We said they were going to fail. We said some of them hopefully were going to work. We said we were going to invest for the long term, that we were going to try to take advantage of market opportunities as they arose. And there's a certain kind of investor who is aligned with that approach. And so, again, you can hold the ballet or the rock concert, and both can work. Just be clear about which one you are, and then people can self-select.
Most of what I've learned in the investment business, I learned from Warren Buffett. He's been my great professor of this business. My first book I read in the business was The Ben Graham Intelligent Investor, but fairly quickly you get to learn about Warren Buffett, and I started by reading the Berkshire Hathaway annual reports. But a big thing that you learn from him, investing requires this incredible, dispassionate, unemotional quality. You have to be extremely economically rational.
Yes, Bill Ackman from New York. Is there a price at which it's inappropriate for a company to use its capital to buy back its stock?
Give me that again.
For example, Coca-Cola at 40 PE. Is that a smart place for Coke to deploy capital?
Well, it sounds like a very high price when you name it in terms of a PE to buy back the stock at that sort of number. But I would say this. Coca-Cola's been around 112 years now, and there are very few times in that 112 years, if any, when it would not have been smart for Coca-Cola to be repurchasing its shares. Coca-Cola is probably, in my view, among businesses that I can understand, it's the best large business in the world. I mean, it is a fantastic business. And all I can tell you is I approve of Coke repurchasing shares. I'd a lot rather have them repurchasing shares at 15 times earnings, but when I look at other ways to use capital, I still think it's a very good use of capital. And maybe the day will come when they can buy it at 20 times earnings, and if they can, I hope they go out and borrow a lot of money to buy a ton of it at those prices. And I think we will be better off 20 years from now if Coke follows a consistent repurchase approach. I do not think that is true for many companies. I mean, I think that repurchases have become in vogue and done for a lot of silly reasons. And so I don't think everybody's repurchase of shares is well reasoned at all.
Well, actually, I have two questions that I would like to ask Warren Buffett. My first question would be, what should I invest in next? Can I have some tips? And my second question would be, I'm not doing too well with the profession I'm in right now. Can you teach me how to play a little basketball, please? Those would be my two questions to Warren Buffett.
Warren?
First one was, what should you invest in now?
Right.
I think somebody like LeBron, and we've talked about it, but I think...
You and LeBron have talked about it?
Occasionally. I think actually if through the rest of his career and beyond in terms of earning power then, just making monthly investments in a low-cost index fund makes a lot of sense. I think that somebody in his position ought to have a significant cash reserve, and whatever makes them comfortable. And then beyond that, owning a piece of America, a diversified piece, bought over time, held for 30 or 40 years, it's bound to do well. And the income will go up over the years, and there's really nothing to worry about.
You think he's listened to you on that?
Oh, you'll have to ask him.
His second question was what? If he's not doing so well in his current career, what would you tell him to do? Lacey, help me out here.
He's doing fine in his present career. And
he wants what? Advice on how to play basketball. Oh, he wants advice on how to play basketball.
Yeah, well, we went one-on-one for a considerable period, and his game picked up a lot after that, actually. I'm kidding, kids. We went up for a jump ball one time, and he got it, went the length of the court, dunked it, and just then I was starting to jump. So he does not have much to learn from me.